Colleen said, we want to thank everyone for being here today, and we sincerely appreciate your participation in the Schweickart Prize. To start things off, we need to introduce the team who will be managing the prize this year. My brother Rusty B Schweickart, you see there in the picture. Yes, we are identical twins. Rusty is joined as co-chair of the prize. He and I, Randy Schweickart, if you don't know, will be leading the development of the 2025 prize strategy and incorporating feedback from various folks, and to establish the 2025 assessment and selection process. With Dad being Rusty and twin brother being Rusty, we were having some discussion about what to call each of them, because Rusty isn't Rusty Jr., so we don't call him Rusty Jr. We decided what we liked the most was Rusty B. So when we say Rusty B, we're referring to my twin brother, Rusty. Colleen.
B for Brown.
B for Brown, yes, B for Brown. Colleen Fiaschetti of the B612 Foundation organization will be stepping in to help with the project management of the prize. For those that have worked with her before, you are well aware of all her many talents and her ability to keep us heading in the right direction. Rusty Schweickart, the elder, that is, will still be part of the team, but he will have a reduced role this year. You can see we have kind of boxed him out in this in the pictures here. Again, he'll still be on the selection committee, so again, still participating kind of in the core proceedings, but and will participate in most of our external outreach meetings. But basically, the day-to-day execution has been passed to Rusty and I, along with the huge support from Colleen and her very capable B612 team. Next slide. Now pass it to Rusty.
Yeah, before we talk more about the 2025 Schweickart Prize, I want to let you know the winner of the very first Schweickart Prize, in case you don't know already, is Joe DiMartini. Joe not only had the best proposal, but he exemplified everything we could hope for in a Schweickart Prize candidate. The picture on the left shows a celebration that occurred for Joe as the award winner, and this was done at the University of Maryland, where he is getting his PhD in the astronomy department. Winning this award has not only been beneficial to his own career aspirations, but also to one day enhance the discovery of NEOs through the realization of his sunset proposal and the partnership he has made through the Schweickart Prize. Joe gave us some great feedback on the overall process from a student's perspective, and that has helped us determine how to move forward with the this year's Schweickart Prize. Next slide.
Okay, so we want to make sure you all realize how important you are, and what I'm intending to do here is to talk about the critical roles that the outreach ambassadors provide for the Schweickart Prize process. The two key functions: we rely upon ambassadors to distribute the Schweickart Prize materials to potential applicants. So identifying students, identifying academic programs where prospective students are, that is the key role that we need from our ambassadors. The broader the community of ambassadors we can find, obviously, the better we are able to reach students across the globe. So we're counting on you to make sure the Schweickart Prize materials, flyers, and so forth get into the hands of graduate students and postdoc fellows at academic institutions and or networks which you are affiliated. Later in this presentation, we'll provide a list of conferences and newsletters that we feel will be excellent conduits for reaching applicants, but we'd also love to hear your ideas, and Colleen will talk about a little bit with you later on. The second role that we really like the ambassadors to provide is, once students have been identified and notified about the prize, we're also relying upon ambassadors to provide guidance to these students regarding Schweickart Prize application requirements, e.g. for like materials, deadlines, contacts. We need your help in making sure that we get promising students to follow through with their applications, and the details of that we'll cover next. So next slide. There are three basic phases to the Schweickart Prize selection process. Phase one consists of a simple pre-application form that the applicant completes to provide the team with basic identification information. We've simplified the form this year. Last year, we actually included a letter of reference as part of this, but this year we want to simplify that to get more people to quickly sign on so they can rapidly complete this step. Students can apply as an individual or as a group. If they apply as a group, we ask that all members be identified and that a single team lead is designated as a primary contact to make that easier for the Schweickart Prize team. We also request that a mentor is identified in this pre-application process for the applicant or group to ensure they have a knowledgeable guide expert to assist them in the proposal development process. This may be, in fact, an outreach ambassador. It may be their thesis advisor. It could be a number of people, but we'd like that person to be identified by the team as well. Phase two of the process is kind of the core part of the process, and that is the submission of what we call the full application package. We request that the applicants provide two separate letters of recommendation. One would typically be provided by an advisor or mentor, and it would focus on the career aspirations and leadership potential of the applicant. That's one of the key criteria that we have for the prize. The second should be provided by an expert in the field of the applicant themselves, or preferably of the proposal that the applicant is providing. This provides weight to the proposal itself and ensures that we have oversight by a subject matter expert in the submission and development of the proposal itself. So then we get to the core of the prize and the key element of the prize, which is the proposal itself. This proposal is a 500-word description of a solution to a key challenge in planetary defense. The proposal may include figures and tables, and the captions, references, and links are not considered part of this 500-word proposal. We're trying to limit. We don't want to have an extensive, dissertation provided because we wouldn't be able to review them all. That's why we're trying to limit the number of words. But we want to make sure they understand captions, references, and links are included, but they're not included in that 500-word count. The selection committee is especially interested in the potential for the proposal project idea to materially advance capabilities in planetary defense. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but that is key, materially advancing capabilities in planetary defense. The successful applicant will also be selected based upon their potential for leadership, academic merit, and commitment to furthering their proposal. So in support of these aspects, applicants are asked to provide a 250-word career aspiration statement and a copy of their academic records. Next slide. So phase three of the selection process is actually only applicable to a set of finalists who are chosen from the full set of applicants. This phase consists of a set of video conference interviews by the selection committee with each of these finalists. Finalists answer questions from the selection committee about their project and respond to critiques and suggestions for strengthening their proposal. Finalists are then requested to submit a final version of their application incorporating elements of the interview discussion. This final version is allowed to be up to twice the length of that original proposal so that items can be incorporated from the interview. Student applicants often wonder what makes a winning proposal. So I thought I'd provide some insight from the selection committee that we found from the 2024 selection process. The first of these I'm calling the out-of-the-box idea. So many applicants simply proposed work that they were pursuing as part of their dissertation. While such work can be quite applicable to planetary defense, it is oftentimes academic in nature and more aimed at addressing a gap in knowledge versus a needed capability to deal with potential asteroid impacts. Joe DiMartini understood this aspect of the proposal request and better than the others, and chose an idea that he felt would be more applicable, an innovative approach to improving our ability to find asteroids, rather than his dissertation topic, which is characterization of the asteroid Apophis. So again, we're not, we are fine with innovative ideas that may not be the specific thing that a person is studying. It's something that they think, in fact, is a key capability improvement. That's the most important thing. Secondarily, I'm talking about a broadly applicable proposal. So another drawback to dissertation topic idea is oftentimes they're quite narrow in scope and applicable to a very small group of scientists. Joe understood that a project idea encouraging the participation of a large community of scientists, his Sunset collaborators, would better appeal to the Schweickart Prize selection committee. Ideas that are actionable or impactful broadly across the planetary defense community are more likely to be selected for further consideration. And finally, one of the key aspects was leveraging key recent advancements. There are so many amazing advances in space technologies these days, and proposing novel ways to use and combine these advancements to improve planetary defense is an effective approach to proposal idea generation. Joe combined the novel capabilities of the Vera Rubin Observatory with the recent asteroid identification verification capabilities of Asteroid Institute's Atom Thor algorithm to generate a powerful proposal for advancing NEO discovery. So hopefully that gives you some idea of the things that we were looking for or liked what we saw in Joe's proposal from last year. Next slide.
So here we will talk about the key dates associated with the prize. The Schweickart Prize team is planning on holding 2 separate webinars in January with applicants who have either submitted the pre-application form or have asked to receive the newsletter. These are key events that are the best opportunity for the prospective applicants to get their questions answered and to directly interact with the Schweickart Prize Selection Committee members. The application deadline is March 5th of 2025. We need to strictly adhere to this day's date as it allows us to proceed to the selection of the prize finalists. We have a fairly extensive proposal assessment process, including a review by a committee of planetary defense experts. So late entries may not be included in this full proposal assessment process and will therefore less likely to be chosen for further consideration. We anticipate the finalist interviews to be conducted the week of April 14th and the final proposal submissions received on or before April 30th. Finalists will be notified about the award decision on May 7th, which will allow enough time for the team to prepare for the public announcement of the Schweickart Prize on Asteroid Day, June 30th, 2025. Next slide.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk a bit about the student resources that are available online and how to get your students involved. Right now, the Schweickart Prize website, we've done a lot of updates since last year, just trying to make it even more clear for students about the application process, but then providing them with resources that could perhaps help inspire ideas that could relate their area of study to the field of planetary defense. In truth, like we really do want to see proposals that are coming from a variety of different vantages of study, because planetary defense does truly affect all of us in some way, whether it be from law and policy, economics. It could be from a communication standpoint, education and educating the public. And we really do want to encourage proposals that come up with creative solutions that would target this field in some capacity. So this next year, our selection committee has come up with a theme to help inspire students. In addition to that, we're going to provide a series of blog posts that are more targeted onto like a specific area of study. So if the student is coming from communications background, we'll provide a blog post that could, propose some ideas to get them thinking creatively and how they could submit a proposal that would be applicable to the prize. In addition to that, we've updated our flyer, which my colleague Delphine just posted a link into the chat for you guys to take a look at. We will be sending it out with the recording today. And so we're thinking that we may do a poster as well that you could then hang, in your class or in your classroom or perhaps somewhere within your university or wherever you think that students might see it with a QR code that could get them quickly to the website. In addition to all of this, we will be posting and have posted the 2024 prize proposal so that students can see what Joe had initially submitted and then what the final proposal looked like after he received that, mentorship and interviews with the selection committee. So all of this is to say that we will have a lot more resources online and available to students. The best thing that they can do in the near future is actually to just sign up for our webinars or sign up for our newsletter so they could be invited to the webinars that's going to be happening the end of January. We'll have 2 webinars for students. They do not need to come with an understanding of what their proposal will be, but rather just a general interest in what it is that we're doing, and if they might have some ideas, if they have questions for any of us. And so on the flyer, there's a QR code that students can scan and that'll take them to the website, and then they can sign up for the newsletters there. In addition to this, we will internally, we've been speaking to some of our nomination committee members. They are all very ingrained in I would say more, not just planetary defense, but asteroids in general, and space. And so they have mentioned to us a few different conferences and newsletters that we could promote the prize. And so these are just some of those conferences and some of those newsletters that we're hopefully going to be spreading the word of the Schweickart Prize coming up in this next year. Some of these conferences, they won't be great for announcing, applications for the 2025 prize. However, we will have hopefully some type of participation to get the word out there. If you know of any additional newsletters or conferences or places where we could publicize the prize, we would really like to know what that is. And if you can connect us with the people who could help us promote there, we would really appreciate that. In addition to all of this, because it is the holidays and students right now, as I'm sure so many of you, we're all so busy. Right now, our goal is just to get students to sign up for the newsletters so that they can then be invited to the student webinar come January once the dust is sort of settled, and then they can learn more about the prize. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to questions. If everybody could please, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we can turn our video back on so that if you guys have any questions for us on the materials that we just presented, in addition to the flyer, which is shared in that Google Drive folder, there's the slides that we just presented on. So if you want to reference back to any part of the process, you're welcome to. Delphine, if you could paste in there the Schweickart Prize for Students landing page too, I think that might be helpful for them to take a look at. So yeah, with that, do any of you have any questions for us or comments or anything?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have ambassadors in places like Italy, for instance?
That is a good question. I don't think that right now we have any ambassador that's representing Italy. We definitely have, through our Asteroid Day network, quite a few contacts over there. And but so I suppose we could reach out that way. Do you have somebody in mind?
Yes, I do have somebody in mind. He's somebody like myself who's interested in planetary defense. He doesn't strictly work in the industry, but he's like I am. I'm a fellow of something called the British Interplanetary Society, which is the oldest space society in the world, formed in 1933, actually in Liverpool. Arthur C. Clarke was a young kid, and that's where he came up with the concept of geostationary orbits, etc. The word interplanetary probe came from them, and the idea of a plaque on the Voyager missions was actually suggested by them originally, and Carl Sagan picked it up. So this guy actually lives in Italy and has got lots of contacts, and there is a branch, the British Interplanetary Society there. So I could ask him if he's interested. I know he, like me, is interested. So anything to do with planetary defense or asteroids, he's always retweeting it, or on LinkedIn, reliking it. So and this year I think he's deputy president of the British Interplanetary Society. So I will push this sort of thing via that. And then the other thing I noticed, there's a society called the Students for the Education and Development of Exploration Development of Space, SEDS. I don't know if you're aware of that. Well, that started in America. Peter Diamandis, the guy who started the X Prize, started it. And I presume in America they have what they have in the UK. There's an overall body in the UK, it's called UK SEDS, and they run conferences. But each university aims to have a branch of SEDS. So these are students, and what they do is they build little rovers, they build CanSats, and they build rockets. So you're preaching to the converted. I managed to get 3 of those societies set in each of the universities in Liverpool in the last few years. And there's a major one in Manchester University that about 3 years ago won a UK competition and came to America and won the competition in America. So somewhere like SEDS in America might be a good idea, to send the information to. I've got contacts within the UK SEDS. I've known the last half a dozen presidents there. When they have a conference in the UK, they get about 700 students. All the top space companies in the UK, about 40 odd of them, will have stands there, etc. Unfortunately, their conference is in March, but I can send this through to the people running UK SEDS to send that out to every student.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. We would really appreciate that. We are, just so everybody knows, we're recording this. We also have an AI bot that's taking notes for us. It's just why I'm not clicking away. So
I know.
I'll probably follow. I will follow up with you about this. And then if you could put us in contact, we're also welcome or happy to provide snippets of copy that then you can push through over to them, just to make it really easy to get students to, visit the website. And for your colleague that's in Italy, the ambassador section on the website does have a form for anybody who's interested in becoming an ambassador to fill in, and that would be the fastest track to actually becoming an ambassador with the Schweickart Prize.
I'll contact him probably next week. I'll contact him and suggest it. And I suggested Italy, not just because he's there, but of course, Italians are quite active. If you think about DART, it was an Italian CubeSat that took the pictures. So it's something that there's a lot of work going on in Italy in asteroid-related work. Yeah.
Really appreciate that, Bob. It's great.
Yeah. And also Japan. Do you have any contact with people in Japan?
We have had some contacts. We probably need some updated ones. Dad can speak a little bit to the challenges of having some of them go up in space or plan to go up in space, so they don't have much time to participate. But we actually could use some better Japanese contacts at this point in time.
Well, yeah, okay. I have one or two, but my main contact is she's an Italian lady, a professor in Liverpool, and she's working on a project to build tiny CubeSats to go to asteroids. And like me, she's interested in planetary defense. I've ended up being an advisor on a board, but she actually worked on Hayabusa 2 in Japan. So she knows the Hayabusa people really well. And one of her other advisors is somebody, the former project manager of Hayabusa. So via that ought to be a good way. Even if it's too late for this year, it's a case of making people aware of it, really, isn't it, for the future?
Absolutely. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah. So what do you want me to contact somebody and ask them to contact you? What's the best way around that, do you think, for Japan?
Fill in the ambassador form on the website would be the fastest way. As anybody's filling in, the more information that we can get through those forms, and then we can get back to them even faster and go through the process of setting them up. I mean, I will be completely frank, because I've set up these meetings with people from around the world. Japan very rarely gets to make it to these webinars, but we still want them to participate, because I know they have a lot of, and have been, with Hayabusa and everything else, obviously, I'm sure they have students with innovative ideas that would be applicable to the Schweickart Prize. So we would really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Bob, we would love to have enough people from Asia as ambassadors that we can set one up at the end of the day here in the Pacific West side of America.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to crack into the Asian academic community, so any help you can give us would be great.
Yes, well, like I said, Stefania Soldini, who is also on the HERA mission as well. So she was actually came over to the States for the DART launch, for instance, because of all the connections, and she was a representative on that. And she's done work on assessing what I think a specific work was how long it took some of the debris from the DART impact to return back to the asteroid, etc. And that's the sort of thing that she specializes in. So she's got lots of the right contacts in Japan. She's part of that setup, really. Okay.
Okay, so if I may say something, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I don't know everyone in the committee yet, but I recently started with the International Space University at the Central Campus, so in Europe, in Strasbourg, France. And so now I have access to the wide network, and so I will investigate and help you out. I can also propose to present, if you send me the flyer materials, I can present to our current master students what the project is about even next week before they go on the break. And as far as the promotion is the space agenda, I can ask Halit, my husband, who is currently still in Turkey in the Space Center, to put something. I thought about maybe your webinars. So like he could advertise the webinar in January as in the schedule, and put the information that in order to participate, you need to join with the newsletter. So that could maybe help as well.
Excellent, Dorley. Say hi to Halit for us.
I will.
And yes, we'll share the flyer out as soon as we're done with this. And then, you can share that with the students. We can also, if needed, we can provide a bit of copy as like a talking notes, and
I mean, 1 or 2 slides is enough. I can, explain a round of 2 slides, and at least I get the word out before the holidays. Because we still have 1 more week of students present at campus. So.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions or comments or ideas on how we might get more students to join us? I mean, applying would be incredible, but really I just want them to join us for the webinar to learn more at the end of January. I would say that's first and foremost to get them to participate.
Maybe if you produced a catchy sort of email or something that we could send out to them, that's, you know, that described things and said, for more information, you know, click on this to come to the webinar. First of all, get the newsletter and then a webinar. And then that would say half a dozen different versions of it, you know.
Sure. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Colleen, do you have a website for the webinar?
Not for the webinar. The webinars, I mean, we don't even have, as of right now, we don't have a specific form, just because, you know, we want everybody to join, but maybe we'll do an RSVP form just to make it even easier so that people can, you know, go that way.
It would help in sending out an email and say, click here to register, or just 2 sentences with some context. That would be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good idea. We could also, I suppose I could set it up as an event somewhere that students are a lot, like a LinkedIn event or a Facebook event where people can RSVP that way. We've had good results that way. I just want to make sure it's students that are actually, you know, truly interested in applying for the prize and not, you know, their amazing opportunity to be in the company of Schweickart online.
FWIW.
Just a suggestion, Colleen, maybe you've already done this, and you can send some promotional materials to the department chair of the universities who has the aerospace program, just like mine, right? And then they will typically distribute to their student. These are the aerospace engineering students already interested in this area.
Is there such a mailing list that would be available to us to do that?
You don't have too many. In the United States, we only have about 60 or 70 aerospace programs.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if there's an association?
The major ones like MIT, Purdue, Michigan, on this major aerospace department. Maybe 10 of them is enough, you know.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
The only point I'd make is that they may not, some of the best ideas may not necessarily come from an aerospace student. I mean, I'm an ex-engineer and spacecraft designer, but I'm also advisor to the Asteroid Mining Corporation, a UK basis. And he and the guy that set that up as soon as he graduated was studying international business relations, not even an engineer. And part of the idea is to get ideas maybe around political things, not necessarily engineering, isn't it? So you do want, as well as engineers, you want the widest.
That's true. That's true. Like when I broadcast this material, I also broadcast to the business school. So, policy maker. Yeah. So you can ask the department chair. Some of them are kind enough to be ambassador too. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's difficult is for people who are not part of the planetary defense community to realize that they have something to say and even an obligation or responsibility in planetary defense, but they don't even know that yet. So it's difficult for them to act as ambassadors when, you know, there are not specialists in communication and political science and things of that kind who are very important ultimately in the issue.
Yeah.
Mm.
Does anybody have any questions about Joe or the previous winner, or how that all unfolded, or is it pretty clear? I know that since this was our first year, there were a lot of learnings. I think we found that the interview process after was, I mean, as Joe told us, like one of the most valuable aspects of winning this prize. I mean, I think that students, they get excited by the prize money, you know, that's like the number one thing that they see. But it certainly with Joe, he said that being connected, you know, with the people on this call, and then through B612, our contacts at University of Washington and Vera Rubin has been really transformative in his career and how he wants to move his proposal forward. And so, but if any of you have any like questions about that, I think, you know, we're still kind of learning exactly the best way to market that aspect of winning this prize. It's not necessarily, I wouldn't call it mentorship, but the opportunity to, you know, expand their network is huge. Okay, well, does anybody have any other questions or comments then before we let you go? Thank you all for joining.
Yeah, thanks everyone so much for joining. Really appreciate your participating today. And we want to make sure how much you know that how much we appreciate all that you can do for us. Your suggestions today have already been fantastic, and we'll absolutely pursue them. But colleagues, networks, you know, get them involved, let them know, and we will continue to expand this group.
Oh, sorry, I have a last question. I was wondering if we could shape a list of the institutions that have been contacted for the previous year. Like, it would be really helpful to have a kind of list shaping up slowly, and over time you could reuse it every year, you know, as the department's people chair to go to which universities are kind of having some students interested, and then over the years you could build up from that list. I think that would be a valuable information for your prize.
Totally
Yeah.
agree.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Okay.
And to have that available to all of you, so you know who we're trying to contact and who we haven't, so that you can help.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.